What's up, Badger fans? These sad therapy sessions are getting way too common. That's 7-9 for the Badgers. Let's talk about it as always.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers. As always, I'm Ryan Herrings. That is Rajiv over there from the Bucky Report. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers give it $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. The Badgers did not make this moment more. They did not listen to the FanDuel ad read. Let's see. Oh, that was an error sound. I was trying to play an error sound. I don't even know. So where do you want to start, Rajiv? Where do you want to start on this one?
Just want to start with some overall big takes. I'm upset because this is an opportunity to get a big win at home. We go on the road and we lose to teams that we're better than. And we come on this show and we say, we're better than that team, but it's tough to win on the road. Well, we got to be able to do that at home. We got to be able to get those wins. Now, I'm not going to crucify the way this team played today. I think Tyler Wahl had an absolutely great game, except defending Damask, which we will certainly talk about. But I think Tyler Wahl just put the team on his back, and I think that you have to give credit where credit is due. Is this good? No. It's we can't give up 91 points, but Illinois is a really good team that has weapons that we just don't have. I know you could argue that's a lazy take. They're a better team. They have weapons all over the floor. Whether Shannon should be playing or not is a discussion, but Shannon is incredible. Damask and Hawkins and that big tall guy. They're really long. They're really athletic. They're good. And we didn't play that poorly. Now, I know a lot of people were upset about everything that happened, and I totally get it because they're right. We do need to win these games, and we needed to make adjustments, and we'll get into that. But overall, Ryan, we didn't play that poorly. We really didn't. And if we play like this when we get into March, we're going to win some games. This team is really good. Got to give Illinois credit. They're a really good team to come to the Kohl Center and shoot 60% from three. You got to give them credit, but we have to be better if we're going to be better than this team. The bottom line is we're not better than this team. We're just simply not. And I'm sad that we couldn't get it done at home because that's when you should be able to beat teams that you're not as good at. But when you're not a good defensive team, you're not going to be able to get things done like that.
Yeah, and Commandant says, here come the excuses. I've been accused of making many of those over this last stretch. We talked about this before the show a little bit. I don't want to, there's no moral victories here, but I thought the Badgers played hard. I liked the effort. I liked the first half. I thought Tyler Wahl was great today. I know we're going to get into the Damask defensive stuff. We are, but they couldn't guard Tyler Wahl either. Offensively, we're not in this game without Tyler Wahl's 20 points, 7 rebounds, multiple efforts in times. And I thought in the first, here's the thing. Let's just talk about the Damask stuff because I got a bunch of comments and there are this is from David. What adjustments should have been to double Marcus Damask? Several people talking about Damask on here, so we'll kind of cram that all into this comment. But let me just push back a little bit on the Damask thing. So I don't think the Indiana thing, I think, is different, right? When you're just giving up Lob City to do a 7-foot, you got to make adjustments when Ware is just dunking on you all day. A lot of the shots Damask is hitting are the type of shots you want a guy to take, kind of contested mid-range shots, a fadeaway on the baseline, a contested post-up shot. The thing is, if you double onto Damask, you are leaving Illinois shooters wide open at the line. That's the problem with Illinois. There's not a great answer. Do I think Greg Gard should have adjusted a little more? Yeah, but to me, Illinois is a tough one to make adjustments to because they have so many weapons around the perimeter. And quite frankly, again, those are the type of shots you want a guy taking. You want a guy taking contested mid-range shots to some degree. There is also an element of you tip your cap to him. He was incredible, right? He was absolutely incredible and he made plays. I'm not as frustrated with Gard this game defensively as I was the Indiana game.
I disagree with you. I think that Damask did need to be doubled there a little bit because he's also in his zone. The dude didn't miss the entire second half. He already has 29 points or 27, whatever at the time. And even if you do end up giving someone another open look, I'd rather someone else have to take it and you double Damask where you roll someone over and you put a little, because honestly, even if you just flash someone over there, he's going to get rid of the ball. He's waiting for someone to do something. force them to do anything else. Like Tyler Wahl had such a great game and he got abused by Marcus Damask.
Yeah.
So you have to do something to change it. Like he was getting, if he was getting, wanted to get a layup, he got a layup. If Wall was defending well enough, I'll just shoot a fadeaway. He was making everything. You can't let a guy keep shooting like that. I absolutely think that you needed to do something there. And that's once again where guard doesn't make adjustments. We say this all the time, like figure something out, make an adjustment. I want to be really clear on this. Like I can see the comments coming in and I just like, I'm not saying that I'm not like upset about the fact that we lost. But when you compare the way we played today against the way we played against Michigan, Rutgers, Indiana, like we didn't play that bad. That being said, some of the things there are no excuses for. Like to me, not adjusting, like literally all of Illinois players are like, get out of the way. Just let Damask just take Wall. Well, you can't just keep letting him do that. You got 2 minutes left in the game. You can't just let them get 2 points because did anyone really think he wasn't going to make the next shot he took? Of course he was. Like, do something different. I really don't like that. But I mean, overall, defensively, like the first half, I thought we actually played okay defensively. And then, yeah, you look up and you're like, oh, they scored 52 points in the second half. Gee, that's a little crazy, but they are really good. There were times where I think we really did play good defensively. The second half was not that time, though.
Yeah, and I want to be clear too, because I don't actually have the live chat up. I have my star chat, so I'm almost scared to look at the live chat. I want to be super clear. Like I also would have sent somebody at Damask at some point to break the tendency. I think he was making tougher shots in the Indiana game where they were just getting lob city. But yes, I also would have sent somebody because eventually you have to present something different to make it on. So we also know that Greg Gard doesn't do that, right? Greg Gard is not making in-game adjustments as much as we would like. Let's talk about Stephen Crowl for a sec. So 4 fouls, right? Like Crowl played 14 minutes. That basically takes you out of a ball game. And that goes back to 2 things, in my opinion. It goes back to, first of all, I thought both of his 3rd and 4th foul calls were weak calls. I thought both of them were.
I think the 4th foul call was stupid. Stupid for Crowl. Like, why are you reaching in like that? I don't think that was a bad call.
But I thought that was a bad call. But he needs to know better either way. Like,
he got no advantage by doing that. Why are you reaching in? Like, why are you doing that?
So the interesting thing, though, right, when he goes to foul, what is Gard's response? Gard's response is to basically play Wall at the 5. I mean, we toyed around with Winter, we toyed around with Gilmore, we toyed around with Ilver, but it's basically play Wall at the 5, and that speaks to the lack of front court depth, man.
And I was surprised. Like, obviously, we've asked for that. We've wanted to have that smaller lineup, right? With Wall being there at the 5, or maybe even Crowl and then not Wall. But like, yeah, and I was actually surprised at how long he stayed out there with that. Like, I don't know how many minutes did Winter end up playing. Like,
he played 2 minutes. That's another thing I want to talk about.
I mean, like that. It's surprising that it actually, because there were times like where some of the defensive rotations. I want to actually ask you about this. Like the rotations sometimes were crazy. Like, okay, so obviously Wall was on Damask most of the game. Klesmet was guarding Hawkins. Like, are you kidding me? Like Klesmet's not going to stop Hawkins. Every time they needed a bucket, they would literally find the mismatch that was out there. They would run an ISO play for them. They'd clear out the lane and let them guy just back down our defender and get a layup. Like, I don't know that that's just, we just don't have the guys or we needed to do something differently. But I found that to be really frustrating as a fan. Like, why are we not doing something different? Like, they're literally just, I mean, Hawkins is a long guy. He's very good. He's just backing down Max Klesmet. What? That can't be the only thing we can do. Maybe it is. Maybe we just don't have the athletes for it. But that was frustrating to me.
Yeah. So here's the issue, though. When you go small, that's what you're going to have. You're going to have matchups like that. Like that. The flip side is you should be able to exploit that offensively, right? But if you're going to go small, and you have to go small because you don't trust Winter, you don't trust Ilver, who, by the way, of course, he hits a 3 down 10, right? Like that's obviously going to go in. But because of that, and because you feel like you need Wall on Damask, then you're going to get those cross matches. That's the downside of going small against Illinois. And Greg Gard got forced to go small because Crowl got in foul trouble. I don't like that matchup either. Like Hawkins looks like a dinosaur-sized guy compared to like Klesmet in there. It's a problem, but that's when you go small. That's what's going to happen, unfortunately. Ryan B is hold on really quick. I always acknowledge the people, man, that are critical. As long as they're respectfully, it's all good. Commandant says Ryan being as stubborn as Greg Gard going down with the Titanic. I want to just really quickly, then Rasheed, I know you had something you're going to get into. We got to take a break too. I'm not trying to be stubborn. Like, you can't lose 7-9. I just felt like this was a better effort than what we saw against Indiana. I agree with Rajiv, and I don't know if that makes me like a moral win type guy, like moral, whatever that saying is. It's not okay to lose. It felt like it was a better effort. It's still not good enough. Like losing close games is never going to be good enough in Madison. And I want to be super clear on that. This is not good enough. So, sorry, Rajiv, you were in the middle of something.
I was just wanting to put this comment up. Similar type of comment. We love when people disagree. And Tyler Strieber is a very good friend of the show and always comments and great comments. He's calling me out, saying all over the Buck Report, we were going to win this, and now singing the praise of how good Illinois is. LMAO. Okay, so this is what I would say, Tyler. Like, yeah, I did think we were going to win it. I absolutely did. I also thought we were going to beat Indiana, and I bet on both times for Wisconsin. Lost again today. But look, I did think we were going to win because I honestly did not think Illinois was going to shoot this well at the Kohl Center. They are better than I even thought they were. And I've watched Illinois a couple times this year, and I really thought that we were going to be able to shoot the ball well, which we did for the most part. I mean, I can't, I'll have to look at our overall field goal. We shot 50%. I mean, like, for the most part, we did okay. I'm actually just surprised at how well they played. They played better than I thought they were going to play, and they made adjustments. They knew, Underwood knew what was going on out there. He watched the plays, and he made the adjustments. When Damask was being guarded by Wahl, he knew, you know what? Keep going to him. There were times where I was saying the same thing on the other end. We'll give it to Wahl every time because he was scoring at will. And then AJ Storr would take a shot, and then Chucky would take a shot. I'm like, no, even if you're down 4, you know you can get 2 points pretty much all the time if you give the ball to Wahl. Well, that's exactly what Underwood was doing. Frankly, Brad Underwood outcoached Greg Gard today. That's a fact. It's in my opinion. They played better. They are a better team. And I thought that we were actually going to play better than we did. And I did not think they were going to shoot 9 of 16 from 3. I mean, geez, like it's hard to stop a team that does that has that kind of athletics.
Honestly, we probably should have expected it though, right? With our defense and their offense. At some point, shouldn't we say, yeah, that's probably going to happen? And that's probably maybe on us. I do agree with your point with Wahl. I literally, so again, people who know, like I take notes kind of on the side in Notepad as I'm watching the game. My 4th note on here is live through Wahl. Like just feed him every time because they can't guard him. At one point, he was 8 of 10 from the field. Like they can't guard him. Just go. And by the way, I thought Gard made a nice adjustment by using Wahl as the initiator. When they went small ball, Wall's at the top of the key initiating the offense, and Hepburn and everybody spread out. I thought that was a really nice adjustment. But then they would go like minutes without going back to him. Don't overcomplicate it. Sometimes if a guy is in a rhythm, just let him cook. Speaking of which, Ryan Bliss says he's been trying to get a comment. He said, let me cook. Come on. Dude, Ryan, let us know what you got in your mind, man. Fire it in the chat. I'm all about it, man.
I mean, we shot 6 of 16 from 3 too. It's like we just have to be able to shoot better, and we're just not there. And that's what's frustrating because what can you do? Obviously I think we could have made adjustments on Damask. I think that, I think the small ball to an extent hurt us. It would be nice to have a little more front court depth, but we know we don't. By the way, let's also give credit here. There were a lot of people in the Discord. Carter Gilmore actually looked pretty good out there today. We had a few minutes, but when he was out there, we actually looked okay. I'm not saying that Carter Gilmore needs to play more. I'm just saying I give credit where credit is due. When he was out there today, how many minutes did Carter Gilmore have today? 4 minutes. Those were good 4 minutes. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. He actually provided a little bit of something on the court.
I am so hesitant with that because I literally, before he had that N1, which, listen, you give credit. You make a play, you get credit. You get your flowers. Before that play, literally before that, he got the ball in the wing. And his guy left to go cover a cutter, so no one was guarding him. Then he threw it back to someone else, and his guy went and covered the pick and roll action. And then he had an offensive foul on an illegal screen. Let's just be I was super happy he got the 3-point play. And then he had an assist to an incredibly wide open Blackwell, right? But the bigger problem is Nolan Winter hasn't been what you thought he would be, what we hoped he would be. He played 2 minutes in a game where the Badgers desperately needed somebody to come off the bench to provide depth. That's the bigger problem here. It's not Carter Gilmore's 4 minutes. It's the fact that nobody has been able to step up in the front court. And that was Gus Yalden, who, for whatever reason wasn't ready to play this year. It's Nolan Winter not being ready to give you any. Nolan Winter couldn't give you any minutes off the bench in a game where you're playing a team that's really good on the offensive glass, in a game where your starting center gets in foul trouble. That's a major issue, man. And it's just going to continue to plague this team until they can figure it out. It plagued this team last year, the front court depth. It continues to just be a major issue.
It's never been more clear to me. When you've said it for the last few weeks. It's never been more clear to me that we need a 5 in the transfer portal so bad. I mean, we just got to get more front court depth because we're getting abused by these teams with athletes athletic fives. I mean, there's like a handful of teams that our front court's better than their front court, but that is few and far between. And unless if we shoot 6 of 16 from three, we're not going to beat teams. We're going to have to shoot a higher percentage. We're going to need to shoot higher. 50% from the field is not bad, but giving up 91 points. I mean, we did score 83 points. That's still good, but it's just not good enough. And we have Rutgers next. We can't screw this up. We have to win it at home because the last game of the year is a guaranteed loss. So I would prefer not to finish 7th in the Big Ten. I mean, I think we can still get in the top 4 where we were there today until now. I think now Nebraska's, I don't know who have a tiebreaker there, but it's just, and a lot of these other teams don't have Illinois and Purdue in their last three games. So we got to take care of business against Rutgers. Otherwise, I'm just, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, let me read off a couple other notes I had, Rajiv, and you can comment on any of these. I want to start with rough minutes for Connor. Connor played 6 minutes. Didn't score, missed 1 shot, had 2 turnovers, 2 fouls. I know like this continues to have to be the discussion. Well, he's not getting time to get into rhythm. You can't play a guy in a game like this if it looks like that.
100%. I mean, I just feel like I don't understand what's happening with Connor. And it's just like, do we need to look? He needed more minutes when the opportunity was there earlier in the year when we were in games that you needed to. We said this before. You got to develop that bench so that when the time comes now, you can actually do something with. But I'm at a loss for what's happened to him, and he has no confidence. He has definitely no confidence defensively because he's obviously everyone knows what his issues are, and everyone's just constantly like battering on them. And he's not playing enough to get into a rhythm offensively and get into a shooting stroke. When he does shoot, he's seemingly missing everything. Like it's frustrating and difficult to watch a guy that we were so high on last year. And I don't think he's going to be a Badger next year. I mean, I think to me, I would be surprised if he was.
I would be shocked. And that's no knock. Like, honestly, it's probably win-win. Like, he probably needs to go to a spot where he's a fresh start and he has a little more offensive freedom. And honestly, if you're not going to play, and this is not me being disrespectful to anybody. If you're not going to play, if you can't contribute, this team could probably use that scholarship. I mean, it's a business, like it really is. And he's not benefiting from not playing either, right? Like, I think it's a win-win probably at this point, unless something drastic changes. Because if this is what it is again next year, the Badgers aren't getting better because of that. And then Connor's not getting better because of that. I just thought there was a really rough few minutes. And again, this is a game where you needed some punch off the bench. It was basically Blackwell and nothing else.
It was Blackwell and literally nothing else. Like no one played more. Ilver played 6 minutes. Carter played 4, Nolan 2, CJ in 6. But like it was John Blackwell and nothing else. Yeah, that's not good enough. You can't be a 6 deep team. I'm sorry, can't work.
Nope, I 100% agree. I did want to point out one other thing. I wanted to point out here's another one I wanted to just kind of touch on quick, and then I want to pick your brain on what else you got. And then I have like 14, 15 comments that we've started, so we got a bunch to get into.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about guard. I know a lot of people want to talk about guard.
We'll definitely talk about guard. You know what boiled down to me though, man, and what I thought was the one of the biggest differences in this game. And I agree with you. I think guard got outcoached as well. But Illinois has 2 guys they can go to, and they can just get shots no matter what. They got 2 guys. It doesn't matter who you put on them. It doesn't matter what you're running defensively. You can just give them the ball, 2 dudes, and they can just go get shots. Like some of the shots Shannon hit, like that step back 3 with Hepburn on them. Like,
what are you going to do?
That's an NBA shot. And now nobody in college is guarding that if he's hitting that. Some of those shots Damask hit, especially early, that really quick jumper that Shannon hits coming off the curl mid-range, like nobody guards that. Like they just have – and conversely, the Badgers don't have one guy that every time you can throw the ball to and say he's going to get a shot and feel really good. Even Wahl. Like
today you could because he was doing it today. But otherwise, you're right.
Even on Wahl, though, right? Like there was that weird shot where you got the ball late in the shot clock and had to force up that jumper. Mm-hmm. My point is anytime you get the ball to Shannon, you feel it's like Johnny Davis. You feel like he's going to generate a quality look. And they have 2 of those guys, and the Badgers have none. That's a huge problem, obviously.
Yeah, and I think kind of going along with the outcoach stuff and a similar topic, I feel like, there are times in the game when they needed that bucket, and maybe we did make it a defensive adjustment and we did kind of double Shannon or whatever, but they would always find the right pass. There would always be someone cutting to the basket, whether it's Hawkins or whether it's the other big guy. His name escapes me. Their center. Guerrier's really good. Rogers, whatever. Dainja, that's the guy I'm talking about. Dainja. they have so many players, but they make the smart plays. They're cutting to the basket when they need to. They're getting off rebounds when they need to. There were so many times technically we out rebounded them, but I feel like they out rebounded us as far as the balance of play. But I just feel like so many times when we're struggling for offense, we'll give the ball to AJ Storr and he'll drive in the lane and it'll look good. But then I'm like, but can he finish or can he not? And oftentimes he doesn't. Maybe he gets fouled. We missed some free throws today down the stretch, which hurt us. Tyler missing the front end of the 1-and-1. Max missing a free throw. Like I texted Justin during the game and I was like, we can do this, but it's going to take us absolutely playing perfect at the end. And the bottom line is I watched Illinois play against Minnesota the other night. The amount of time that they literally have no offensive empty possessions. They have strong, long stretches of the game where if they're either making buckets or they're getting fouled, and they do that consistently, which is why this team easily scores 90 points in a game and really makes it look easy. And they do that a lot. This is not the first time this has happened. They do this a lot. It's like they just have answers that we don't seem to have. And that's frustrating because I want to be the team that has those answers. And I thought earlier in the year, we were a team that had those answers. We were playing so well offensively, but there's just the answers aren't there anymore. It's almost like we've been found out, and that's just frustrating.
Yeah, and John Berger talking about the NBA level talent that Illinois has in spots. That's not an excuse. Why don't we have that guy on our team? Agreed. Like, that's on guard. And there's absolutely no other way to look at that. The recruited talent on this team, whether it's good, bad, whatever it is, the talent is on the head coach as always.
I hate hearing over and over that Damas is Mr. Basketball in Wisconsin. I'm like, well, boy, he's wearing the wrong jersey then, man. That's frustrating. But that is a guard thing. Like, that recruiting obviously is an issue. We've not said that it's guard is a great recruiter, and he's not, and he needs to improve in that regard. But yeah, Damascus is a guy that should have been playing with us. It's just the fact.
I will say this, and Jeff Olson pointed this out too. Damascus only had mid-major offers. He was at Southern Illinois for 4 years. Like, it's similar to everybody saying, well, you missed on Halliburton. Well, most people missed on Halliburton. Like, I'm not going to crush guard for missing on a mid-major guy that goes somewhere and then greatly develops, because there were no other blue bloods offering him either. But none of it matters at the end. It doesn't matter how you. So I'm not this big guy on in-state talent. I've never really. It matters that you get good talent. That's it. Like, I don't really care if you miss on a Damascus. Here's the thing. Let me rephrase it. Nobody cares about Damascus if you have your own 6'8" guy who's getting 25 a game, right?
Right. If we had a guy like Shannon that produced like Shannon did, then we wouldn't care as much.
No, but we don't. So now it's easy to point. But again, you got to get the talent, and that's 100% on guard. Rajiv, I feel like I've been dominating some of these talking points. What else? Did you have a break that you wanted to take, or you're not doing breaks? This is a Saturday show. Like, I think we're just going to roll through. Because if we did, there should have already been two of them.
This was a comment that David Thering put up earlier, which I think it's a fair topic. Let's bring it up. So this is Ryan, Rajiv, and Justin. If you're on, can we, as a group, now have legitimate questions about guards' job security? I don't know how you can't after a game like this. Please explain to me if you don't. So I've said this before. I'll say it again. I do think guards on the hot seat. I absolutely do. Do I think? Am I on the fire guard train right now? I am not, much to JB's chagrin. I know that he wants me to be on that train, and Commandant, I think, wanted me to be on that train. I'm not there yet, because I still think that free tag is going to bring a lot of joy to this team. And I think that when you have additions like Storr and Blackwell and free tag and potentially people in the portal this year, like, I think that he's clearly trying to add more athletes. And is he making in-game adjustments that are good? No, he's not. And he's very frustrating. But I still think that what I want to see achieved by this team can be achieved by guard. I may be wrong, but that being said, do I think he's on the hot seat? Yes, I do, because I think that Chris McIntosh is a different kind of athletic director, and he is setting a different tone for this university. And I absolutely think he's looking at it and he's thinking, well, do we want this? Like, I mean, this is yet another mid to late season collapse. I mean, 2-7 in your last 9 when you're ranked 6th in the country. That's unacceptable. I don't care who you're playing. You only had a couple ranked teams on that whole slate, and you could have won a lot more games. And you have to be able to win on the road, and we can't right now because we are being outcoached and we are being outplayed. We need improvements. We made improvement from last year to this year. We did. We absolutely are a better team than we were last year. We're making the tournament. That's that's a lock at this point. Even if we lose that, I know I've had that discussion in the Discord today. We're making the tournament. Okay. It's happening. So that's an improvement over last year. We need to see more improvement next year. If we don't see improvement, then I will get on the train of fire guard. But we've improved. We absolutely have. Has he made a ton of adjustments? No. Does he frustrate me? Yes. But I'm just not there yet. But I do think that Chris McIntosh is getting there, and I do understand why a lot of people want him gone. And I don't think anyone is wrong for having that opinion.
Yeah. By the way, Justin's going to be dead on right with his 1-4 prediction down the stretch.
He sure is. It's frustrating.
Oh gosh, dang it! I'll say this, and I said this. I forget what podcast I was on the other day. I think it was a sports chat with Matt. I forget, but he has something similar. And I said, listen, at the end of last year, and I'm going to just echo your point quick. You were in the NIT, and you said you need to be better next year, Greg Gard. The team is better. Like, improvement has happened. I do want to ask you though. You start to look at this team, this late season swoon, and everybody, we are talking a lot about wait till Freitag gets here. Like, one person's not going to fix this team. This needs to be, as talented a freshman as he is a freshman still. He's let's not, it needs to be Freitag plus, I guess is what I'm saying. This has to be another big offseason for guard, right? And if it's not, I'm going to go into next year really skeptical. If he does not find a way to address the front court, if he does not find a way to probably add another body. Like, people talked earlier in this year about how deep we are. We're not deep. We play 6 guys, essentially. Yeah. You need to add Freitag coming in. He has to hit. You have to get some internal development. And quite frankly, Gard has to get a little less stubborn. And what in his history has shown you he can do that?
Okay, I do believe that. I agree with you. Freitag's not a change by himself. It's more so that's the kind of player that I feel like we've been wanting. He's very athletic. He has a lot of skills.
Yes,
He's a point guard who can do more than the point guards that we've had. So it's trending in that direction. Last year at the offseason, what was the one position we said we wanted him to get? An athletic wing. Well, he got that. So now we're saying we need a 5 who's physical and it can be a rim protector. I expect him to go get that in the offseason. So if he stops doing that and he's not getting those players and the recruiting goes down, then yes, I'll absolutely get rid of him. Like, it's fine. But I don't think we're there yet. I just feel like we're better. We're going to make the tournament. Maybe we can make some noise. I'm not saying it's good to continue losing in the tournament in the first round. No, that's not okay. We do need to make Sweet 16s. We do need to have teams that when you have the right talent, you can make a run. I've always said that. I've been consistent with it. We do need to be in a situation where we're competing for Big Ten championships, which we're not this year. Hopefully we finish in the top 4, which is a good finish, but we've got to see improvement. Improvement was seen. We addressed the need that we had. Go get another one this year. Go get a big 5 that can actually be a rim protector and cannot get just destroyed by athletic 5s in the Big Ten.
Or honestly, it's probably gonna be an athletic 4. Like, go get a 6'10" power forward who can jump around and run around, because you have to fill. To Matt's point, you got to fill Wall's hole anyway. So
yeah.
If you get an athletic floor spacing 4 next to Crowl, that addresses a lot of issues. But yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, this team got better. That was the goal. It's better than it was last year. And I think because of that, he's not going to get fired. I do think the seat, like, people are looking for where the seat warmer is. Like, and I think that's fair. Like, because it's a very high standard in Madison.
Do you think the seat is warm? Do you think McIntosh is thinking about this at all, or do you not think that is?
I do. And here's why. Here's why. I think he's thinking about it because when it gets talked about so much, right? When the public discourse gets to a point where it is continually being discussed and fans are this frustrated, well, who are the donors? Who are the people fueling NIL? Right? Like, it's fans of the program, it's boosters, it's people that are getting frustrated with this stuff. Not all of them, but I think you can't ignore that when that type of discourse starts to really build, because that affects your program in a lot of ways. So, by the way,
that was the discourse that was building up in the football program. There was a lot of people that Chris thing, a lot of people wanted him gone, us included. So yeah.
100%. I do think that McIntosh, his ears are perked up. And I'll tell you this too. I was speaking to, and I don't want to put the name out there, but I was speaking to a guy the Badgers were recruiting on basketball side. And he said, I don't like the look of this. Like, from a national perspective, you're trying to sell the program, right? You're trying to recruit to the program. This isn't a good look. It's not as easy to sell this, right? And that's obvious. So yeah, I do think McIntosh is probably, his ears are perked up. I don't think under almost any circumstance Gard is getting fired after this year. I don't think he should be, but I think the scrutiny should be turned up because the standards here in Madison are really high. And losing 7-9 is never going to be okay in Madison. That's
I
not
can't
acceptable.
believe we were 8-1 in conference and now we're 10-8. Like that is just that's so frustrating. And we had games against Michigan and Rutgers and Indiana and teams that are just not good. And it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I agree with you. I hear all the people that are like screaming at me that you gotta get like on the guard train. I hear why people say that. I just don't. And I'll tell you why, Ryan. I'm really afraid of the alternative. Okay. I like having the high floor that I feel like we have, which is making the tournament is a minimum expectation. If he's not doing that, no. But I don't want to have a situation where we bring in a guy and then all of a sudden look at Indiana. We've had 2 coaches since I became a Badger fan. Well, 3, I guess, with Bennett. Bennett was first year there. But like, look at how many coaches Indiana's had. That's a blue blood program. And they can't do anything because they're trying to chase their tail and find a guy that can lead their program. And this is not just Indiana. You look across the country, there are teams that make a lot of changes and that doesn't always work out. And I'm not saying that McIntosh is going to make a bad hire. I just feel like you can't really guarantee that. Like when we got Fickle, we're like, okay, well, this is a guy who looks like it really could work. I just don't know what that's going to happen in basketball. And guard has a high floor, whether you like it or not. He's won 63% of his games. He has a pretty high floor.
Can I tell you where it's going to get, in my opinion? You can sell hope, right? And a new coach sells like a different type of hope. It's like if you have Kirk Cousins in football, you have a high floor quarterback, but the fan base is never that excited about it. You're never going to win big. And then you go and you pick whoever, Bryce Young, you pick the number 1 overall quarterback. Like the hope, I don't know, like being part of being a fan is really believing that you can make a deep run. And there is an element of the high floor that I really appreciate. I think that is important. The wheels can fall off pretty easily if you make the wrong hire, but there's also an element of you tune in every year because you hope to make a run. And it's getting a little more difficult to see that with Greg Gard over the last couple of years. And that if that element goes away, I quite frankly don't really care how high the floor is. If I don't think you can legitimately make runs, I'm not with Greg Gard. I'm not, but I think I'm getting closer to that. And I do think like a lot of fans are getting close to that too.
I agree with you totally. Like I am getting closer for sure. I have to put up a funny comment here. John Berger says Skylar Bell and Nolan Winter. Dirk, yes, that's me. Those are my bad takes of the year. By the way, I still believe in Nolan Winter. I don't. And Muma. Muma. I know. Listen, Bell and Muma were my boys. They were horrible this year. By the way, did you see Garendo at the combine?
I don't even want to talk about it. He ran about a 4.33.
We were I was putting in the Discord earlier that the show was going to be later because you had something with your kid, and someone said, he must be at the combine watching Isaac Garendo.
Dude, I would be there with my Garendo jersey. Like I will die on this hill. And I know this is a basketball show, but listen, it's good to inject some fun into it, right? We had such a bad offense that last year, and we couldn't find a way to use a 6'2", 220-pound running back that runs a 4.3. Like, oh my gosh, dude. I will forever die on that hill. That's my favorite Badger ever. Someone asked me the other day, who's your favorite player ever? Isaac Garendo.
And I will tell you what hill I'm dying on. I do believe that Nolan Winter's still going to come good. I'm dying on that hill. Nolan Winter's a good player, and he needs this. What he needs is Brady Collins to come and hang out with him, by the way, because that's what you need.
I will say this, and Ryan Bliss brings this up. Nolan Winter shows promise, give him time. I really don't know what you're losing by not giving him 8 to 10 minutes.
Agreed.
Like, put him out there for 2 minutes, unless he get hurt. And if you guys know in the chat, if he got hurt, let me know. But I think, what do you let? I just that one I struggle with too, man. Like 2 minutes, I don't even know what the point of putting him out there for that is. Dennis Schmill, and I apologize for the name. What is the scuttlebutt on Yalden? Is he totally a bust or a potential solid 4? So I can tell you, from somebody pretty close, I've heard really good things with Yalden. That this year's kind of becoming a see what he needs to do type year. I'm still kind of hopeful that next year we're going to see the version of Yalden that not just me, a lot of people thought he would be this year. So I definitely would not write off Gus Yalden. I've heard something pretty recently on that. So not blowing any smoke. I would not write off Gus Yalden.
Yeah, I mean, look, the guy is basically having a redshirt year, so we'll see what happens next year. I think it's completely too early. We have no idea what he looks like on the floor. We obviously, if we don't see him on the floor next year, then I think at that point you can pretty much be like it's not going to happen. But I definitely expect him to still play a big part in this program. I mean, I've said for a while that I thought the Yeldon Winter front court will be a front court that will be good for us. And hopefully it comes with some transfers as well. But I still believe those two guys can really do damage in the front court.
I don't know if we talked about this. Tyler Strieber said that Howard Moore. I mean, we should definitely talk about that a little bit before the game. That looked awesome. Obviously, I wasn't there, but that looked awesome. It looked like people were emotional about it, as they should be. That it was awesome that they were able to do that. Obviously, getting a win would have been a great way to do it, but that's way more important than anything. Like, so I was super happy to see that.
Howard Moore was such a crucial part of this organization. It will always be a really key part of the organization. I'm glad that he's honored, and I hope he gets all the honors that he ever deserves. And I think I was actually talking to an Illinois fan a little bit, texting, and they were like, yeah, I mean, watching this pregame thing makes me want to root for your team. I mean, there's no way for the Illinois is going to win this game. I'm like, well, hold on. But yeah, I mean, just what an amazing guy and family and everything that family has been through. It's so sad. And, always wish all those guys the best. And I'm glad that the university and the program honored him the way that he deserved it.
Yeah. It makes you want to go hug your family, man. You hear, like, that's just such one of the most tragic things, really ever. Scott Francois says, you guys are virtually clueless. Not entirely clueless, then. You're giving us a little bit of credit, Scott. Let's go. Come on, guys. Give it up. The team sucks. So this is where I want to come to really quick. Like, Rajiv, we get lots of comments like, this team doesn't deserve to be in March. This team sucks. This team doesn't suck. That's the thing that Badger fans are at. Like, getting to March doesn't suck. There's a lot of teams that actually suck at basketball. Like, they win like 10 games. They win like 8 games. And Rajiv, that's the point you're making earlier when people say, we don't deserve to be in March. No, because the entire body of the season counts. You do deserve to be there if you get there. Like, the first part of the season where everybody was so high on this team, that still counts. It's still there. It happened this year. So I just want to throw up here because the team doesn't suck. That's the thing. We just have a high standard at Wisconsin, which is fine.
I mean, like, we're still going to finish in the top, well, hopefully the top 5 of the Big Ten. Look, before February started, we were being talked about as a 2 seed at a minimum almost. I mean, there was discussion whether or not we could eventually climb up to the 1 line. Obviously, had we not had the February we did, we could have had a different discussion. And so what the month of February did was not eliminate us from the tournament. It took us from a 2 seed down to probably a 6 or a 7 now. And that's fine. That's where we might be deserved to be. And I was hoping we could still get a 4 or 5 to give ourselves a good chance at a Sweet 16 run. But no, I think at this point, I think a 7 is probably the most likely seed because we can't seem to win a game. We have to beat Rutgers, obviously. Otherwise, we're going to end up on an 8 or 9 game, which that's probably the lowest. That's our floor, I'm guessing, for the tournament. But yeah, I think we're still in a position where we can win a game. We're still going to have a game in the first round that we're favored to win. And if we lose that game, shame on us, shame on Greg Gard, and that we shouldn't be doing that. But I think we'll win that, and we'll see what happens in this round of 32. If we play a 2 seed, we play a 3 seed. If we play whatever, who knows? Like, look at the wins that this team generated in the early part of the year. You have to count those. That win against Marquette is still there, right? Like, that's those wins at Michigan State. Like, we have good wins on this team, and this today was frustrating because this was an opportunity to get a really, really good win against a really good team to boost that resume. But we're going to be in the tournament. Let's see what can happen. Anything can happen. And yes, I am a hopeless optimist. I am that guy. I am that guy that just continues to believe in his team, and you can hate me for it, and that's okay. But I'm that guy who just loves the Badgers, and I want to believe that we can do something good every time we step on the floor or the field. And every time March Madness starts, I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be thinking, what's our path? Like, whatever. It's how I like to fan, right? I like to believe, and I like to feel like we can do something. So no, this team doesn't suck. And we had a really sucky February, that's for sure. And hopefully we don't have that bad of a March.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is, though, the defense is broken. At a fundamental level, the defense is broken, and there's more than enough sample size at this point to recognize and acknowledge that. Landa Lincoln Badger says, what happened to the solid bench depth earlier in the season? Listen, if you listen to me, it never was there.
Well, I mean, look, I think McGee's injury certainly did hurt. And I would say I put a lot of that on guard too. I think that you got to play your bench guys. You got to, we've been saying for a while, Blackwell needed more minutes. Well, now he's getting a few more minutes. I still think Nolan Winter needs more time out there because you got to put a guy out there I mean, we could have been giving Ilver more minutes when Gilmore was getting all those minutes. So like Asijian needed more time in some of those games. So he could have done more, which we've said multiple years now in a row. He could have done more to develop this bench. But hopefully it's better than it was last year. Not as good as hopefully it is next year.
Yeah, that's a very short bar to get over. Todd Romance says, I've got my 4-month-old grandson watching your show now. Let's go, Todd. I am trying to guide him on the right path of Stephen Crowell's not a terrible player. Isaac Brendo is misused. We'll get him going down the right path for you.
I was trying to teach my daughter how to do the W today. My 18-month-old daughter.
I love it.
Good.
I love it, man. Let's see if there's any other. I mean, there's so many comments. I never get to them all, but I do try to do a wrap-up show. There is a comment in here I wanted to throw up Mike M, because we do try to show both perspectives on here. Guard is safe. Who are you going to hire? I mean, it's a fair perspective too. Like you could hire. You're not guaranteed to get somebody better than Greg Gard.
Right. Yeah. I mean, hopefully, look, I think that there are people that we could get, and given what McIntosh did with the football team, he probably will make a good hire when that time comes. And when that time's here, then we'll see what happens.
Meanwhile, here's the other perspective from Bo Dragon. My Badger friends are amazed I even watched them. So there's two sides to this coin. I will say this, Rajiv, if they were, if and when, right, if it does happen, they move on from Greg Gard, you're going to see a level of excitement among Badger fans for what's coming next. Whether it's good or bad, you're going to see a level of excitement that we haven't seen in a while, because parts of this have gotten a little stale. And that's on Greg Gard to fix. And if he can't fix it, then it's on Chris McIntosh to fix.
Agreed. And this is kind of an extension of the idea here was the Guard is kind of an extension of the Bo Ryan era, but he's not as good as Bo Ryan. We all know that. And, Bo Ryan played he was very rigid kind of a coach. He also didn't make adjustments, but he was just that good at what he did. That swing offense was brilliant. And there were a lot of times there were frustrating times, but that guy got it done. He was a much better recruiter. And then Guard was kind of hopefully going to be an extension of that. So hasn't obviously happened yet. So you're right. Like it's almost going to be like an end of an era. I'm not saying Guard and Bo Ryan are the same, but like it was kind of meant to be a continuation of the same kind of a system. So we'll see. Yeah, you're right. There's going to be a lot of happy people out there, and who knows what the future holds for this team.
We'll wrap it up there. Bo said we need the excitement. Winning Gambler obviously points out you're not guaranteed to be worse than Guard either, for sure. Like you could make a home run higher. The bigger point is you introduce an element of risk though, and to not acknowledge that risk it's a little blind optimism. Kedrick says the Fickle hire might be an aberration. So many big programs opened the season before Fickle left Cincy. The big basketball jobs are opening right now. Next year is the time if needed to fire. Cody Schmidt said hire Michael Finley. Listen, he'd probably recruit well. I don't know. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Rajiv, as always, man, anything that I missed or anything that you still wanted to get off your chest with this game?
I think the last thing I'll say, which we kind of talked about already, it's just that like February was a really bad month and March hopefully is going to be better. And this, although it was a loss, frankly, I think we played better than most games we played in February. And I'm hoping that this can start to be, we have to get Rutgers. We've got to get that done just to get some confidence up. And we're not winning in West Lafayette, so forget about that. But this team needs something to get the juices flowing a little bit. I hope that Wahl's performance tonight can carry us through a little bit, because we did play better. So hopefully that continues and we can play even better against Rutgers and Purdue. And listen, the tournament, anything can happen in the tournament. So we'll see.
There's a hint of optimism still remaining in the will.
Always.
I feel like I'm just getting a little numb to it. Like you lose 7-9, it's hard. Like that's tough, man.
It is.
So beat Rutgers, please. Let's have a happy therapy session before we head into West Lafayette and probably get our heads decapitated. I will say this. They may not have anything to play for. Not that I'm trying to hype up any chance that Wisconsin has in that game, but they may not have much to play for either.
They don't need to have much to play for, man.
I know.
They can put out anybody they want. That team's really good, and playing in that arena that I grew up near. I've been to that. That's a tough place to play. And every place is a tough place to play, but that place, oh man, we will be lucky to have inside of a 20-point margin, honestly.
Let's also keep in mind, like as Robert says, one more thing. We haven't won on the road in a minute, so Purdue may not have much to play for. It's like the monster.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, like we get on the road and it just doesn't matter. So, all right, we'll wrap it there. Thank you everybody for tuning in as always. You guys are incredible. This community is awesome. Rajiv, as always, thank you for helping me push through. These are much more enjoyable when we win. So thank you for helping me push through these. You going live tomorrow?
Yeah, we're doing tomorrow night. We're going to talk obviously about this game, and we're going to talk more football stuff too, because we need something to talk about outside of basketball.
Yeah, please. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much as always for listening, for joining us, for helping us process. Right, that's really what this community is all about. Whatever perspective you have on the Badgers, as always, it is incredibly welcome. Wherever you're at, as long as people are respectful, we talk it out, we chop it up, and we're Badger fans together at the end of the day. That's what community is. So on Wisconsin, let's talk later. And yeah,